intimacy and building trust, and more. Our marriage preparation and intervention program. Take advantage of our comprehensive program offering premarital counseling classes, marriage intervention sessions, and marriage enrichment classes to support you at various stages of your relationship. Counseling our classes, Purpose Discovery marriage program. Interventions. Discover your life's purpose through our Purpose Discovery programs, answering key questions and understanding how your gifts, talents, skills, and passions intersect to define your purpose. Visit our website idelight.co.za or WhatsApp +27 642 001 545 for more information on our various programs. Empower yourself, enrich your relationships, and discover your purpose. Join us on this journey to make life a delight.
Margherita, an Africanist. Cosa dico che sta loro
Not just emotionally safe, actually, physically safe as well, mentally safe. You want to feel safe with whosoever that you are with. So where there is a lack of the feeling of safety, people resort to defensive behaviors or aggressive behaviors that manifest as disrespect. So the communication can become, aggressive, which, comes out as is perceived as disrespect because they don't feel emotionally safe around you, around, the other person, and so on. So lack of emotional safety can lead to disrespectful behavior. Number 3, poor communication skills. Poor communication. In fact, I'm going to take it beyond skills to call poor communication patterns. So in a relationship where people don't know how to express themselves, they don't know how to communicate their feelings, communicate their position, communicate, see name calling to be heard. You have passive aggressive treatments, the popular silent treatment. Silent is actually disrespectful. You're talking to somebody that you are living in this house with and they just ignore you. They don't want to respond to you. You ask them questions, look at you, they roll their eyes and they continue doing what they roll their eyes and they continue doing what they're doing. That's disrespectful. You're trying to get vital information and they just look at you and they hiss. They look at you and they hiss. And they, it's yeah. So poor communication patterns can all, manifest all forms of disrespect. Number 4, differences in upbringing and values. Differences in upbringing and values. Some people were raised in environments where disrespect was normalized. That's how they saw their parents relate to each other. Name calling, abusive 4-letter words used on people. It's so normal to yell. It's so normal to shout. It's so normal to humiliate people when you're upset. So this is all that this child knew. And that's all they, that's the model that they picked up. So now as an adult, if they get into any form of disagreement with somebody, immediately they default to name calling. They default to aggressive behavior. And they bring it into the marriage. They bring it into their home because that's how they have been. So people who grew up in quarrelsome environments where quarreling and fighting was normal don't even know that sometimes even the way they behave is disrespectful. They don't know. So because disrespect has been normalized in their upbringing, so they don't know. They don't know that snapping at someone or shouting down at someone, or publicly humiliating someone is not proper. It's not right. But because their parents constantly shouted at them in public and belittled them in front of everybody, so they take it as normal. I once worked for some employer. This man, my goodness, he was so disrespectful. He yelled at everybody in the company. Small things, he will swear at you. Even little things, he will swear at you. Everybody dreaded him. It was, you don't even want to come to his office to do, he called you stupid, he called you useless. Then he will even go ahead and abuse your mother and abuse your parents. You said you went to university. Who paid your school fees? They must be daft. They must be daft. I'm telling you, the kind of, I'm like, no, why are you abusing my father? They must be daft to have paid school fees for you. They're really stupid to have paid school. I'm telling you, I used to hear those kind of, insult from him for employees. There were like 15 of us that were working in that company at the time. My goodness. So in fact, we used to say that our boss passes through hell on his way to work every day. He comes through hell. He just goes by the corridor of hell before he gets to work, because he brings hell with him. He just comes, and once hell just arrived, So I rationalized it that this man, he must have had terrible upbringing. Somewhere along the line, he was exposed to this, and for him, this is normal. He can abuse you and abuse you and abuse you and abuse you, and 5 minutes later, he's all nice. After raining all manner of expletives on you, 5 minutes later. So, some people are like that. And this is why I teach single people. When you start dating someone, you need to take the relationship out of church. If you met someone in church and you see them at church and they lift their hands and praise worship, everybody is nice in church and worship, we pray, we have night vigil. They are very nice in the house of God. You need to see them when they are watching a soccer match. Oh, yes. You need to follow them to the neighborhood where they grew up and see how they relate with their buddies that they grew up with. And because there are sides of them you will never see in church. Oh, yes. There are sides of them, parts of them you will never see in church. Until you see them with their homies that they grew up. Then you realize that, man, who am I with? Who am I with? Oh, my God. So I teach single people, when you meet someone, you need to know them in different scenarios. Follow them home and see how they relate with their siblings, how they relate with their parents, see how they talk to their parents, see how they talk to their siblings. Because the truth is this, that how they talk to their relatives is exactly how they're going to talk to you sooner than later, because you will soon become their relative. So if they are disrespecting their parents, I'm sorry for you. You will be so soaked with disrespect. If they disrespect their siblings, older ones or younger ones, if they talk down at their employees or their subordinates, the way they treat the gardener or the way they treat the security guard, and they want to show off their authority, they are going to do the same thing to you. So when you pick up disrespect somewhere, you need to confront it. You need to talk about it. I'm not saying break the relationship, but know that what you have just seen, you're going to see it in the relationship. They've been showing you their nice part, their nice side, and they're all courteous. They're all opening the car door and, all opening the door for you and all that. Wait until you marry them. All right. Number 5. Power struggles and control issues. Where there are power struggles and control issues, the woman is, trying to control the relationship. The man is trying to, assert his authority on the relationship. Where you see power struggles, there will be a lot of disrespect. Yeah. Where one or both partners feel the need to assert their authority in the relationship or their control. I have dealt with couples where the man feels completely disrespected by the wife because the wife was the one earning money and the husband was not earning, or not earning as much. He actually was earning, but he was not earning as much. And she would say things like, when the man wants to take something from the fridge, he will shout, the fridge. When last did you buy anything into the fridge? In front of everybody, including the helper. When last did you buy anything into the fridge? Close that fridge. Don't take anything there. And that's the wife talking to the husband. So there are control issues in that relationship. And that's why it's coming out, in disrespectful language and so on and so forth. Sometimes people want to use such aggressive behavior to push it down on you, to belittle you, to make you feel small, to make you feel insignificant, because that's the way, and especially people with narcissistic disorder, that's the way they derive pleasure. They push you down and so on and so forth. So where there are power struggles and control issues, there will be, disrespect coming through. What about number 6? Unmet needs and frustrations. Unmet needs and frustrations. When a person feels ignored, undervalued, or taken for granted in a relationship, so they can lash out through disrespectful behavior because they feel they are undervalued, they are ignored. So their only way to push themselves out is to lash out in disrespectful behavior. And like I've said in the course of the month, we don't use disrespect to correct disrespect. Many people feel like, well, if you're going to disrespect me, I'm going to give it back to you. And some people think it's a good philosophy. Let's talk about that. If you're going to give it to me, I will give it back to you. Press down, shaking together, and running over. Let's talk about it. What's wrong with that? Microphone moving. What's wrong with that? We get to use the mic so that the people online can hear. What's wrong with that? Let's talk about it. Yes. I think Gershwin, after her, you can. Yes.
We perpetuate the cycle.
You perpetuate the cycle.
You're going to get it back, so you're giving it back, so continue.
So
it
builds. So the disrespect goes, then it grows, it comes back, and then it goes more. And all right. Okay. Yes. What's wrong with that?
Okay, mine is basically very similar to what Pastor said. Basically fueling the fire. You don't fight fire with fire.
Fire. Yes.
And it's just gonna worsen the situation.
That's right.
So, but bottom line, it's just not biblical. If we understand the word, then doing that is completely unbiblical, because love conquers everything.
That's right.
And then you get love is kind, love
Yes.
doesn't have anger,
Yes.
it doesn't keep record and all. So
Yes.
where is all of those
Yes.
if you now want to fight fire with fire in being disrespectful?
Yes.
Because it's like we can't put that aside.
Correct.
We said we love each other till death do us part, then we need to treat situations like that better
Yes.
and look at it from a biblical perspective.
Correct. Correct. The most important thing in this matter is the word of God is against it. Overcome evil with good, the Bible tells us. Overcome evil with good. The Bible never said overcome evil with evil. We overcome evil with good. So Jesus taught it. Apostle Paul taught it. If someone slaps you on this side, Jesus didn't say slap them back. Jesus says turn the other side. He says if they make you go 1 mile, Jesus says go 2. Jesus says if they take your jacket, give them your shirt. So Jesus never advocated responding back violence for violence. No. Disrespect, no. He even said take on, absorb it. Allow yourself to be despitefully used. Jesus did that. So it's not biblical. It's not a biblical behavior. It's not right to dish out disrespect where people give you disrespect. It's not biblical. There must be, we need to break that cycle. Yeah, we need to break the cycle and overcome it. And I do know this, that light overcomes darkness. Good overcomes evil. Sometimes it may not look like it, but it does. Bible says a soft answer turns away wrath. So someone is aggressive towards you, a soft answer turns away wrath. So it's a misguided attempt to demand attention by being rude, by being disrespectful. So yes, you have unmet needs. There are better ways to talk about the needs. You have unmet expectations. You don't have to become unruly with your words or with your behavior because you have unmet expectations or unmet needs. There are better ways to deal with it than becoming disrespectful. Right, number 7. I promise to give you 10. Number 7. Lack of genuine love and admiration. Lack of genuine love for this person and admiration for them, for their character, for their beauty, for the quality that they carry within themselves. When you are not valuing it, you will talk down at them. You will treat them for how you see them subconsciously. That's the problem. So a woman who doesn't have love and admiration for her husband will talk to her husband like a child. They will disrespect them because they're not admiring who they are. So that respect is not there. And these things are subtle, they are subconscious. So someone who has disdain for their spouse in their heart, it's going to manifest. It's going to manifest in the way they talk to them. It's going to manifest in the way they refer to them, to their siblings or to their relatives. I've heard people talk about their spouse as that thing? How do you call your wife that thing to your siblings? Is your wife you're talking about, or your husband, that one that, that man? And that's how you're referring to your husband, to your relatives, that man, that idiot. Come on. Right. So lack of genuine love and admiration can manifest as disrespect. So if I am doing a couples therapy and the issue that's on the table is disrespect, I want to probe it. I want to go. Let's go. Let's leave the superficial. Let's go deeper. Let's get to the root of it. Why do you talk down at your spouse? Why? Where is it coming from? Many times, because maybe they did something that made you lose that admiration for them. They did something, that made you lose the respect and admiration you had for them. And now, deep inside, you still feel that way. I was once talking to a woman who, at the early stages of her marriage, her husband cheated on her. And they tried to get past the infidelity. They tried to get past it and try to move on. Still carrying the pain of what he did. And, I could see she was referring to her husband. I had a comment like, I don't trust him around any woman. And that's what she said to me. I don't trust him around any woman. I don't. And that's what she said to me. So I can imagine how she talks to him in other scenarios, because that statement is full of disrespect. I don't trust him around any woman. Right. So a lack of genuine love and admiration. So if stuff has happened in the past, we need to go back right to the root and find out, has forgiveness occurred? Have we gone past? Have we healed? Because if you don't have that admiration for that person subconsciously, it will manifest in the way you talk. It will manifest in the words that you use, in how you respond when you get upset, how you respond when, issues come up and it takes you back to the pain of what happened. All right. Number 8, that has been mentioned by our sister. When you have self-disrespect, you disrespect yourself. If you disrespect yourself, you will not have respect to give anybody, because you can't give what you don't have. Even, listen to this, low self-esteem, self-disrespect, and low self-esteem. One of the most painful things is to try to build a relationship with someone who has low self-esteem. It's terrible. It's terrible. Low self-esteem make them overtly sensitive to everything. So they read everything from the perspective that you are looking down on them, you are talking down on them. Meanwhile, you are not. But because of their low self-esteem, they hear things through filters. They hear things through filters, and things that were not meant to be offensive, they read it as offensive because of their low self-esteem. So they always think you are disrespecting them, even when you're not. Even when you're not, because of low self-esteem. So insecurities, when people are insecure in themselves, they will lash out with because they think, their insecurity make them read everything wrongly. And then they overcompensate by lashing out to, if you disrespect me, I disrespect you. Where that is coming from is low self-esteem. They think very poorly of themselves. So they end up, dishing out what they have to the next person. All right. Number 9, emotional baggage from past relationships. So if someone has been hurt in the past, they may carry those unresolved emotions into their current relationship. Now you are being punished for the sins of the ex. You are being subjected to horrendous treatment for the sins of the ex. And this is one of the reasons why I say to people, when you break up because hurt, try and heal before getting into another relationship. Seek healing, pursue healing, secure healing for self before you go into the next relationship. Otherwise, you are going to carry the pain and the injuries from the previous relationship and use it to mess up the next person. Because now you are projecting the pain and projecting the treatment you got in the previous relationship. You're not projecting it on an innocent person who had just come into your life. Right. So that's number 9. Number 10, the influence of external factors, friends, family, society, media. Your social circle, your upbringing, your cultural beliefs shape how you treat your partner. I've heard people say, you're a woman, you can't talk to me like that. You can't talk when I talk. And some people come from such highly patriarchal societies, patriarchal cultures, where they believe a woman cannot talk when they talk. And I see people even, bring it to church, bring it to the corporate space, and they lash out at women. You're a woman, you're not supposed to talk when I talk. Really? At the workplace? Come on, dude. But it's coming from, their societal or cultural upbringing and their belief system.
Okay.
So, yeah, just keep them mute. All right. Online people, I see you. I recognize you. Thank you for being there. All right. Okay, so when people have, some of these cultural values where, certain things had become normal, talking down at women had become normal, then they bring it to their relationship. Now, God helped them that the woman that they are in a relationship with comes from a different culture, who do not understand why I can't talk. You see, so a marriage between a man who comes from such a patriarchal society or patriarchal culture with a woman who understands it, you see, things might be a lot easier for them, because in their culture, when the man talks, the woman doesn't talk. And she was brought up that way. So for her, it's normal to keep quiet and hear the man and listen and only address your husband in the house or in the bedroom or in private and not public. So if they come from the same cultural orientation, it's easier. The problem is when you come from a strongly patriarchal society and you are now in a relationship with someone who is an American. God have mercy. And she can't understand what you're talking about. What do you mean? The cultural value of the average American is freedom of speech. Both men and women talk. Now you come and say, I cannot talk. Where are you getting that from? You know? So, yeah. So those are 10 roots where disrespect comes from. And we need to understand them. I'm not saying that's all there is, but that's all I'm giving you tonight. We need to understand them in order to reverse disrespect. So if there is elements of disrespect in a relationship, in a marriage, we need to find out where is it coming from. Which one of these 10 things that I've talked about is the reason for the disrespect in this relationship? Maybe something happened. 20 years ago, 30 years ago, 10 years ago, something happened. A betrayal happened. An infidelity happened. And we have not dealt with that issue thoroughly. And now the aftermath of what has happened 3 years ago, 4 years ago is in the way we relate to each other, the way we talk to each other. Or we are dealing with a situation of ongoing failed expectations. Ongoing. Like that lady whose husband continuously squandered their money at the end of the month. It's ongoing. So many times the anger behind that woman's voice, because there's no food for the children to eat. And their father had just gone to squander whatever it is that came in at the end of the month somewhere and leave the family for 3 days and come back and then come back empty-handed. So she's so frustrated. And she has to, I am not justifying the behavior of the man, neither the behavior of the woman, because we don't use disrespect to correct disrespect. Right? So what do we do to begin to address disrespect? What do we do? Number one, we need to identify the root cause. Is it your upbringing? Is it the way you were socialized? Is it something that has happened? A disappointment in my behavior or something that I did? Identify the root cause. And you need to have open and honest conversations about this. Where is this thing coming from? Why are you always angry? Why do you talk down at me when you're angry? Why do you use belittling language? So we need to have open and honest conversation about what is producing the disrespect in this relationship. And as we do that, we are actually establishing that it's not okay. It's not okay. I do not appreciate this, tone of, of talking to me in this tone or in this manner, and so on. And then we set boundaries. That's the next thing. When we have identified the root from the 10 things that I have given to you, go through them. Where is this disrespect coming from? The next is we set boundaries and agree on what is acceptable and what is not in terms of how we communicate. in terms of how we behave to each other. If I'm not okay with silent treatment, let's agree. We will not entertain silent treatment. It's a boundary. We will not. If anger, unprocessed anger or unresolved anger is where this thing is coming from, then can we resolve it? I have a friend who is part of their marriage policy to resolve every issue before they sleep. They don't sleep with issues unresolved, and they must resolve it. So if it means having to keep awake for a couple of hours to resolve this issue before we sleep, it's the boundary they set, that they must resolve every issue before they sleep. So set boundaries. And then number 3, improve how you communicate. Learn to express your feelings in a way that improves understanding instead of creating more conflict. How you express your feelings should be producing reconciliation rather than escalating the conflict. So improve communication. A lot of people don't know how to talk or how to communicate when they're upset. They automatically swing to the other side and become vile because they're upset. They become aggressive. They become rude. They become, even insulting because they are upset. We all have to learn and improve in how we communicate feelings, dispositions when we are not happy, when we are not pleased. I know certain guidelines. For instance, if you're angry and you keep talking, you get angrier. When you're angry and you keep talking, you get angrier. So why don't you learn to keep quiet and let the anger calm down? It was one of the things that I was taught in parenting. Never try to correct a child when you're angry, because you overdo it. So don't discipline when you're angry. You will overdo it. So process the anger and then discipline, so that you're not unleashing anger on a child, because it's not corrective. Discipline. So the purpose of discipline is to produce correction. So if you are angry, you are dishing out your anger. You are being vengeful and taking out your vengeance on a 6-month-old baby. Come on. All right. Number 4, heal past wounds. Intentionally seek healing. Walk through hurts. Try and process them. If you are not coping, go for counseling. If you are so upset by what they have done or what they are doing, go for counseling so that you can get healing. And there's something about being able to talk to somebody else that helps you process your own emotions. Just being able to talk through your pain helps you process your own emotions. The Bible talks about speaking the truth in love that you may be healed. and so healing for past wounds, healing for past hurts, it's so important. And unfortunately, a lot of people don't know how important it is, so we sweep things under the carpet. And people are carrying wounds now. It's been 2 years, it's been 4 years, it's been 6 years, it's been 10 years, and you're carrying, the pain from something someone did. You need to process it. It's actually unbiblical to carry wounds like that, because somewhere there's unforgiveness. Somewhere there's unforgiveness. You haven't processed this thing properly. So I heard someone say, Pastor, I have forgiven them, but I have not forgotten. I have forgiven them, but I have not. I said, what does that mean? I have forgiven them, but I have not forgotten. I said, what do you mean you have not forgotten? In fact, somebody I know, I always forgive, but I never forget. He actually says that very boldly. I always forgive, but I never forget. So I'm like, so what does that mean, really? Have you really forgiven if you're never forgetting? So I will forgive you, but I will not forget. I'll not forget what you did, but I'll forgive you. And I'm thinking, what does that mean? What do you mean you're not going to forget? How does that work the next time you have an opportunity to be a blessing to me? I remember I've forgiven you, but I've not forgotten that the money that you didn't pay, the money that you didn't pay, I have not forgotten. So meaning, if you come back to beg me to borrow you another one, I will remember the one you didn't pay. All right. That's number 4. Number 5. Intentionally grow or nurture gratitude and appreciation. Like the little exercise we did today, intentionally nurture gratitude and appreciation. What does that mean? It's easy to find faults, what they have not done, what they are not doing, and you don't see what they have done. Human nature. It's easy to, always see what is not right, what they have not done, but you forget all that they have done. You forget all the good things and all the, when people use such language like, you never care, but that's not true. You always do that, and that's not true. When people use that language, I said, but you're not speaking the truth. Nobody is always late. There would have been once or twice that they came early. So you can't say they're always late. Yes, maybe 99% they are late, but there's that 1%. There's that 1% that they came on time. You always exaggerate. That's not true. Nobody always exaggerates. You never care. That's not true. Don't say that. You never, wait for me. Don't say that is not true. So when we learn to get rid of such language, and how do we do that? By intentionally looking for reasons to be grateful. It's something that you actually, it's a mental skill that you can develop to intentionally look for something to be grateful. I have a friend who always, without fail, every time I meet him, he has a testimony. He has a testimony. Every time. I noticed it over the years. This guy always He has a testimony. Then I realized the reason why he has a testimony is not because God is more active in his life than in my life. It's because he is careful to always look for something to be grateful. Always. I thought he had developed a mental habit that he doesn't even know is habitual with him. If he walks into this room now, within 10 minutes, he shares a testimony. And sometimes, I used to ask myself, is this guy serving God? I'm serving assistant God. He always has a testimony. He always has something God has done. He always has, he will, even the bad things that happen to him, he will flip it and find something to be grateful. It's amazing. I realized it's a mental habit he had developed over time to always look for the positive in every situation. Look for a reason to be thankful in every situation. They stole his car. You will hear a testimony that they stole his car. I'm telling you, he's amazing in how he can come up with a positive in the midst of negatives. It's amazing. But it's something he had done over time that he doesn't even know he does it. That he's always looking for something to thank God for. He's always sharing a testimony. He's always looking for something, even in a bad story. There is some story, some positive thing there. The guy is amazing. Every time I leave him, I'm like, my God, this guy, how does he do this? Because it's natural with him. And he will say, do you know what God just did for me? He will start every time. So I realize it comes from him rehearsing, constantly looking for what God has done. I think he had done it so much inside of him that he doesn't even know that he does like that publicly. So I think maybe every time before he sleeps or something, he's looking for something positive. He's looking for something positive. He always has them. He finds them. So he's so full of energy. I like his company. I like to be in his presence because you will hear something God has done. You must hear it. If I call him on the phone now, before we talk 5 minutes, he has shared one or two other things. It's amazing. And it's such a good thing, which every one of us need to what? Practice. Practice in your marriage. Just be intentional to look for something. I gave an illustration a couple of Fridays ago, how the human mind is notorious for seeing faults. If we put a white sheet, big, 3 meters by 4 meters white sheet here, and I take this pen and I put a dot on the white sheet, and I ask people in this room, what do you see? Do you know that most people will say, I see a dot? They'll see a red dot. Yet, the surface area is 3 meters by 4 meters of white sheet. You will not hear anybody say, I see white sheet. If you ask them, what do they see? I see a dot. I see a red dot. So how come you're not seeing the white sheet? In terms of surface area, white is 99.99999% of the surface area, but you didn't see it. It's the dot. It's the flaw. That's what you see. That's the fallen nature. Can we reverse it in our relationships? In other words, intentionally look for something to appreciate your partner on a regular basis. Like every day. Look for it. Look for it. Make a habit of it. By the time you practiced it, over 70 days, it will become habitual. Let's do a challenge. From tomorrow, we're going to another month. Can you believe it? Two months has finished in 2025. We've done 1/6 of this year. Like, my goodness. We've done 1/6 of 2025. Tomorrow is March 1. Can we do a 30-day challenge? For all the people who are married, those online, those in the room, can we do a 30-day challenge? Gratitude challenge. Every day, find something to appreciate your spouse. Something positive. If you need to use a journal to help you before you sleep, every day, just think what something my partner did for which I'm grateful. Write it down and then discuss it. Can we take a 30-day challenge, the whole of March? Let's see how it's going to change the atmosphere around our homes and around our relationship. Just cultivating that appreciation. Are we good? Are we take up that challenge? It's a good challenge. An appreciation challenge, 30-day appreciation challenge. Yeah, 30-day appreciation challenge. That's the name of the challenge. So every day from tomorrow, March 1, at the end of the day, document the things for which you are grateful. It can even be as simple as this person swept the house. They made the bed. They gave me a glass of water as I came back. They prepared a meal. They ironed the clothes. They took care of the kids. Whatever. Just find something to appreciate your partner every day for the next 30 days. When we finish in March, maybe we will take it into April. The whole idea is to make it habitual, that you don't even think about it. You are constantly coming up with appreciation. Respect will grow out of that. Deep respect will grow out of that. And imagine where it's coming from, both husband and wife. They are constantly looking for positive things to talk about. Not what you didn't do, not what you have not done, not how horrible, you have been at this or that or the other, but positive things. All right. So mutual appreciation. So we are agreeing on that 30-day challenge. Amen. All the married people say amen. Amen. All right. All the people online, please be part of the challenge for 30 days. All right. And number 6, some disrespect had become so ingrained that you need professional help. You need professional help. You need to talk to Dr. Chucks. You need professional help. The disrespect is now in layers. You know how things can become caked? It's become, the layers have become caked. That you now need professional help to uncake it. Yeah. So if the disrespect is so deep and so profound, we may have to get third-party assistance to deal with the deeper issues that is sponsoring the disrespect. All right. My timer says I need to stop so that we're going to take a break. And then we come back, we're going to take the question and answer session. All right. Can we take a break? 5 minutes, 10 minutes, what? Democracy. 5, 10, 5? All right. 5 minutes. Sorry? All right, so those who are online, if you join in via YouTube, we're going to log off on YouTube now. The question and answer session is not going to be on YouTube. But if you are on Zoom, the session we are going in now will continue on Zoom. But if you are on YouTube, please join us on Zoom. What's the Zoom details? It's there. Okay. All right. All right. Sorry? All right. And for, yes. Now, those who want to partner with us and want to sow into what we do, those are our banking details and And there's also an e-wallet, cash send, quick pay option. If you want to use any of those facilities, please take a screenshot of the details, and then you can, do as God puts on your heart. All right, let's take a break. We'll be back by in 5 minutes time by 2020. All right.